there's an effect called Solarize, and this term is a photography term. It comes from sort of back in the day when you did darkroom photography, and if you were kind of developing your black and white photos, if you halfway through the process or partway through the process, you're in the darkroom and you're putting your sort of photo in the developer, if you sort of turn on the lights partway through the process, it creates these kind of weird, well, I mean, the best thing to do is show you what Solarize actually looks like. So it creates effects a bit like this. Obviously it would be black and white with a black and white photo, but it's not kind of dissimilar to the using the HLS color balance, but I mean, this is almost like a negative effect. If you've ever seen like a color negative, which you may or may not have, but obviously back in the day when you pre-digital, you'd get color prints done of any photos you've taken, and if you looked at the negatives, everything is kind of reversed in that sort of way, and that's sort of what this actually does here. So again, quite a trippy sort of effect. But potentially useful for certain things. There are a couple of other Solarize effects, Solarize in and Solarize out. These are almost sort of transitions, but you can do some quite interesting tweaks with them. So if I bring Solarize in, and you'll notice it kind of starts with the effect, and then it sort of bleeds into your normal sort of color. So you can use it maybe as a transition from one location to another, that kind of thing. But what is interesting is if we have a look over here, and you can always do some sort of like live edits with this. So if you, let's say for example, start with your threshold really high, then if you move down a little bit, and I don't know if you can kind of see this, but if you do sort of move, so I'm trying to zoom this so you can sort of see it. That's better. Yeah, so if you move your threshold as you go along, then you can get these sort of changes happening in real time. There's another one there. That's gone a bit too normal. And you can also edit these little keyframe things here as well, and also kind of change the sort of like curve functions you can do on here as well. Probably want to maybe give yourself a little bit more room to sort of do that, so you can do some quite interesting little tweaks on there. These kind of effects can be a bit processor intensive, so when you do play it, it might be a bit on the glitchy side. So it's sort of jumping a little bit there, but you can sort of see the general idea with it. Always bear in mind with Premiere Pro and also things like After Effects, you've got playback resolution here. So if your computer is struggling to play back something at full resolution, then you can always drop it down to half, a quarter, or an eighth, and it will sort of make your footage look a bit pixely, but you'll get a better idea of what the effect looks like. But then you can actually, obviously when you render it, it's going to look fine. So I don't know if that'll play a bit more smoothly. Not a huge amount, but you can see it's a lot sort of rougher around the edges. But as mentioned, if you do decide to render it, then everything should be nice and smooth at the end of it. Okay, so there's sort of free. I mean, also there's a solarize out function here, so you can actually, I've not actually used this one before, but I imagine it does the exact opposite. So when you get to the end of the clip, it probably just sort of bleaches it out at the end. There he goes. So yeah, okay, so have a go with those. You can choose a clip. So there's a couple there. Color Hype Tutorial 2, Color Hype Tutorial 1. So have a go with those, okay?